Joe Askren here, drjoebrews.com. I'm at the beautiful Calusa Brewery space here in Sarasota, Florida. We are so lucky to have this also as our USF lab space. We do some fun activities here with our brewing arts program. We also make beer here in our Intro to Beer Science class, accredited class at USF. Today I'm cleaning up some half barrel fermenters. Got these SS Brew Techs, love these things. But while I do that, check out this amazing video I made. Over the summer I was in Brussels, Belgium, also in Ghent, Belgium. I'm talking about the history and culture of beer there, how unique that country is, and how just some of the amazing beer they make. I visited a Lambic house, some amazing pubs and breweries. So check it out. Hope you enjoy the video.
Hello beer lovers, welcome to Belgium. I was here over the summer exploring beer culture and not surprisingly was just blown away. It's often claimed that no other country has a more eclectic, diverse range of beer culture. Just a fantastic mix of German and French influences. I'm going to take you into my favorite 8 places. So I got some great advice before I left and I did some research, and I didn't go to every place that I wanted to, but I think I hit some good ones. So first up is Het Waterhuis, Gruut. I'm going to show you Potionel Kelder back in Brussels, Moeder in Brussels. Of course, the famous Fonteinen. I'm going to go to Au Soleil, Gist, and then finish up with Delirium Village in Brussels.
So if you look at a map, the diverse creative nature of Belgian beer culture makes sense. You see it's bordered by 4 different countries in the North Sea. I would say the combination of viniculture, the agriculture, the fermentation science, and culinary art influences from France and Germany have been useful in creating this incredible historic beer region. Anybody that considers themselves a beer enthusiast appreciates the contributions Belgium has made. Trappist monk styles, spontaneous wild fermented lambics, saisons, Flemish red ales, strong stouts. So because of this, beer tourism in Belgium is well known. Adoration for Belgian creativity in brewing is appreciated by true beer connoisseurs. Interestingly, many local Belgians I have talked with said they appreciate the American beer styles too and are aware of the recent craft beer revolution in the States. Many other countries too have entered the craft beer scene and are putting out some incredible beer, like Italy, France, Australia, New Zealand, Japan. Now, even with the growth of craft brewing around the world, the percentage of the population that drink the corporate giant brands is still overwhelming. I mean, even in Belgium, it's about 90%. So highlighting old world style craft beer is critical, I think. So to take advantage of my recent trip, I want to share some of the amazing local taverns and breweries I went to while in Belgium. Always looked forward to experiencing this beer nirvana, so here we go. First, the menus in your typical beer tavern and even restaurants is something that impressed me. Compared to your typical US restaurant beer menu, these are sophisticated, even if small, like when I went up to a small walk-up waffle restaurant. Still a pretty eclectic menu for that. The other impressive part of Belgian beer culture is how knowledgeable the bartenders and waiters are. I also concluded that there's less of a separation between food and beverage here. Eating is more of a holistic experience. Eating food and drinking a beverage is a combined experience. Let's start out in Ghent at Het Waterhuis, just a 40-minute train ride northwest of Brussels. This location is known as a national treasure in Belgium. It's right on the edge of a canal in the center of town, has probably the biggest selection of beers in Ghent. I got there right as they officially opened for the day. The place was empty, but I heard it gets packed pretty quickly, even during the weekdays. It was a rainy morning, I remember that, so I was one of the only people in the place at the time. Definitely a cozy vibe on the first floor. There's 2 floors, and the views of the canal and historic downtown area was just stunning, especially on the second floor. They have a few of their own special beers on tap, along with some other incredible selection of Belgian styles. I had a glass of Artevelde Pils. It's a local brewery there in Ghent, and it had a very champagne-like taste to it, like Sauvignon Blanc, like almost, a very fruity finish, very clean. Here's the Golden Strong Ale, Hummel beer from a town in Poppering, just west of Ghent. The hops are very nice and aromatic, nice pleasant yeast and mild fruit notes and a bit of spice, 7.5 ABV. I noticed right away that many of the beers poured in the bars are served in their own branded glass. Not every beer, but definitely more than what I'm used to in the US. The menu at Het Waterhuis was needless to say incredible. Several pages of amazing Belgian beer styles, other old world European styles. And if you notice, there's a Belgian family brewer square. You see that little marker there? You see it? It's black, yellow, the red wave. This is a special honorable designation to very old breweries in Belgium. Ones that are still brewing, and there's only 21, like Anchor started brewing in 1471. That's on the website. Boone in 1680. And you can see I'm at the website right now. It's very interesting. Kind of takes you through the history, talks about each one of these old breweries. And again, there's only 21. It's hard to believe. So enjoy this website. Go check it out. Gruut Brewery. This unique brewery is also in Ghent, although a fairly new brewery. They're known for making old world beer styles using gruit instead of hops. That's right, no hops. Most of you might know, like before hop flowers were being used to bitter your overly sweet wort, brewers used a mixture of roots, spices, and herbs called gruit. So Gruut Brewery makes 6 different no hop beers. I got to try a few of them. I got to also meet Giannis. Was one of the associates there at Gruut. Gave me just some amazing info on their concept, educated me on what their beers are all about. They do have a little system there, and they brew almost all of their beers off-site. But one of the beers they ferment there, make and ferment there, is called the Mistress. It changes from season to season throughout the year. I tried a few of their Gruut beers. They were all very tasty, malt forward, unfiltered. The Brew was my favorite. It was gluten-free, had a mixture of nuts in the recipe. Super smooth, I loved it. I actually purchased a couple bottles of this one. It was fantastic. Moving on and back to Brussels, man, walking through the streets of Brussels was just an amazingly memorable experience. Hard to forget. I did stop by the not easy to pronounce Pushnell Kelder Tavern. It's located right across from that famous little boy statue that's peeing in the fountain. It's the mannequin piece, landmark they call it, and it's in the center of the city. There is an interesting story on that statue. If you're curious, you can go check it out. But this tavern did have another impressive beer list, not surprising. Definitely a cool place to hang out and rest after walking. Now, half the experience is just checking out all the antique wall art inside, the hanging puppets, and then outside the suspended bikes that are attached to the wall. Moeder Lambic means mother of Lambic. Over 40 beers on tap. Some specialty beers just made for Moeder here too. 6 hand pumps. The first time I came here was in the early part of the day, so the place wasn't too busy. I came back a second time. Just love this place. The bartenders, wow. The bartenders are just super knowledgeable. Seem to enjoy talking about beer to anybody, especially me. Had some good ones. Had a glass of Cantillon Goose to start, and then an Oud Bruin from Verzet, Southwest Flanders. Now, Oud Bruin means old brown, but it's actually red. It's basically an aged sour beer. It's fantastic. So they combine both young and old. And it also has grapes put onto it. It's first blended out of multiple barrels and then left to age in the bottle for 6 months. There was that initial jolt of sour, followed by just a complex, lovely complex mix of fruits, wood, and apple. Love this one. The Moeder Lambic location is certainly a temple to beer. I was impressed with the attention to detail their staff put into serving the beer. Perfect temperature, perfect glass, perfect pour. For example, remember the bartender poured me the Oud Bruin, and then he apologized that the temperature was a bit too cold. So he insisted in telling me that before I drink it, just to roll the glass around in my hand, warm it up a bit. I mean, who does this, you know? Beer lovers in Brussels, that's who. So very impressed with the staff here, and of course the beer. I also found out from the bartenders that they pre-chill the rinse water for their glasses. You know, the water that shoots up and cleans the glass off, but they actually run that through their cooler where the beer's kept, and it comes out cold. And the keg room, I was told, is also pristine with only beer in it, so there's no cheese. They don't keep sausage in there because some of those food flavors might go through the microporous beer lines and change the flavor of the beer. I also appreciated the brewing system that was at the entrance of Moeder Lambic. It's pretty cool. It's behind glass, so check this place out. So imagine you're walking in your new neighborhood one day and you get to the end of the street and notice, wow, there's a world-famous Lambic house right here. Yes, Fonteinen is an epic place here in Brussels. It's an award-winning, world-class Lambic facility. They specialize in traditional spontaneously fermented Lambic beer, which is aged for 3 years and blended into what's known as a goose. It's a labor of love, and they're a true Lambic brewing and blending house because of their location here in Bejoitenland, southwest Brussels. This is the first pour I had when I arrived. The bartender served the goose in the traditional basket, which holds back the sediment. The sediment are bits of yeast and other solids that settle in the bottom naturally during fermentation. They use no filtration process when bottling. It's pretty amazing. I was lucky to be a part of the Saturday tour too. Michael, who's the head brewer, he took over in 2010. He was going through all the history of Fonteinen, and as he described it, it's just a meandering timeline. Many times when they needed help surviving, they had some bottles explode, and then just the ebbs and flow of the market. Fonteinen's origins go back to 1882, and the name comes from its translation, Three Fountains. In 1953, Gaston, a farmer, took over the blending house and added a restaurant. Gaston's son Armand took over in 1982 and truly made it one of the most famous Lambic blending houses in the world. There was some struggle, of course, when beer drinkers in Belgium began moving over to cheaper lagers and sweet fruit beers. The authentic way to make a goose takes more time, takes more investment, more patience. It's a 4-year process. There's also the expensive investment in barrels. The overall goal of Lambic brewing is to build up the biological culture to produce spontaneous fermentation in the barrel. Michael took us through the maze of beautiful foeder barrels that they use to age the beer. They currently have 110 of them, and they're all full. Michael gave great detail about the traditional Lambic brewing methods, which is very different from a basic ale or lager recipe. They have a 30-barrel system at another location that brews from October to April, and the night air is very cool, below 10 degrees Celsius. So after the mashing and boiling stages at the holy house, they call it, they then let the hot wort drop in temperature overnight in cool shifts. So at that point, it's going to start picking up wild yeast and bacteria in the wood ceiling itself and in the air, of course. The next morning, they transfer it into the giant barrels, and the Lambic brewer purposely gives up control here until over a year later when they start tasting it. Nothing is checked before then, nothing's changed, nothing's modified. It is what it is at that point. They just wait and see. That is taste. As Michael said, after the boil, we give it back to nature. Nature's deciding which way it will evolve. This place is just epic. It should be, I think, a pilgrimage to anybody that loves beer. Next is Au Soleil, or Under the Sun if you speak French, a really cool area in Brussels. Au Soleil is a very quaint, cozy little tavern. Seem to be all locals here. I had an old goose boon. This is a very traditional goose. After the usual blend of 1, 2, and 3 year casks, the bottles are then aged up to 18 months. This is just a beautiful tasting beer. Hints of honey, a bit sappy, just the right level of sourness. Probably, you know what, probably my top 5 favorite beers on the trip, really. Au Soleil is another amazing little local tavern serving fantastic Belgian beer. But this place was different. It had a charm. It was a wild place, really. First, I almost didn't even see it. There's no sign outside, just a patio of locals having a drink outside. I didn't even catch any Au Soleil branding until I walked inside and saw it written on a chalkboard. It was funny. A wide demographic of people in the bar. Definitely social, a social destination for local beer lovers. I almost felt awkward filming, really. Place kind of had a fun social club vibe. I observed a humorous scene though, where a guy sitting next to me with his dog, he was just hanging out with his dog there. He got up to use the bathroom and quickly made a feeble attempt to attach the dog's leash around the chair. It didn't work though. The dog was off and greeting other patrons when the guy took off, went to the restroom, and then his owner came back. The dog just settled down on the floor at another table and let the people pet him. I'm not sure why that story stuck with me, but I just kind of think it summed up the entire vibe of the bar. An inviting, low-stress place with friendly people and excellent Belgian craft beer selection. The bartenders were super knowledgeable and very laid back, didn't seem to have a care in the world. There's the typical chalkboard menu, of course. Next, I tried the Chauffe Soleil. This beer made with barley, wheat, and rye. The Chauffe had a delicate flavor, a champagne-like mouthfeel, almost like a wheat beer, but it's described by experts as a pale ale. Yeah, I really like this place a lot. So I finally made it over to Gist. Really wanted to come here because I heard they had some cask ale on tap. It's located in the historic Brussels area, actually in the area of some awesome restaurants. There's a Michelin star restaurant here too, I believe. This was one of the first places I stopped by on the first afternoon I arrived, but they weren't open yet, even though the sign said they were. So I definitely wanted to come back. You know, businesses in Brussels, it's kind of funny. It's loose, which is cool. The times of service are often just a hopeful guess, maybe not an actual promise. That's funny. They didn't have the cask ale I read about, unfortunately, when I got there. But one of the bartenders told me he was hoping to get some by the end of the month, so that was a bit of a bummer. Anyway, the beer list was still good. The interior of this place is, again, just unique, eclectic. The owner must be a drummer or something because the ceiling lights were made out of paste drum cymbals. I think this might relate to why the music here was so damn good. I mean, they were playing some awesome vinyls on some sort of turntable system. Sounded like a mix of punk and funk style music. Really didn't expect this. The beer list, of course, again, chalkboard, really extensive. And I had to decide on what I wanted to get. It's never easy in Brussels, you know, to decide on what you're going to get. I was going to try the goose or some type of sour again, but then I almost got the Arigato Tokyo IPA. That sounded interesting. It was made with rice. But then I saw their New England style IPA made by a Belgian brewer, Le Pendu, at Lambic, and it was a brewery in Anderlecht, Brussels. So the menu had it described as a hop bomb, of course. So I had to try that one. I did, and then it was definitely didn't come off as a even moderately hoppy beer, but it was still interesting. It was tasty, more like a champagne-y, delicate, hazy pale ale. So now I quick walk over to the last spot, which is just mind-boggling. Wait till you see this. So what beer tour of Belgium would not include a trip to the world-famous Delirium Village? This place is fairly young compared to other taverns around town, but certainly the most famous. They opened up in 2004 and immediately caught everyone's attention, including the Guinness Book of World Records. At that time in 2004 when they opened, they had 2,004 types of beer. Just for that celebration, the opening. And now they have over 3,100 beers. And out of that 3,100, there I think 1,200 they said, 1,200 of the beers actually are from breweries in Belgium. This place is not just one place. Again, it's a village of bars. I mean, both sides of the street. 2 to 3 stories for just a full block. Exploring around this village is never ending. I mean, it's so easy to get lost. I think I did, at one point, but it's not that bad because you're usually near some great beer. So you'll find different alcohol themes too, from mezcal to absinthe, etc. They have those throughout this block here, but of course the beer is the crown jewel. I started off with a classic Saison from a brewery in southern Belgium and then moved on to the Delirium Classic. If you ever get here, you got to get the Delirium Tremen when you visit here. It's a Belgian style golden strong ale, but it's a little bit different. It's triple fermented with 3 different yeast strands. It's fruity and complex, 8.5 ABV, but it finishes dry, which is really nice. It's very unique, unlike other Belgian triples you may have had. Now, in this room here, there's 30 different beers on tap, just in this one big area here. This is one of many, but this is a pretty well-known spot. There's 30 beers here on tap. They rotate these beers in this room. There's about 200 beers that they rotate over the year, and again, there's 30 taps total. Walking around the village, I mean, I couldn't help but just feel like I was walking through a giant beer museum. The walls, the ceilings, the stairwells are just filled with eye-catching beer art and other brewing oddities. I mean, you could easily sit or stand in one area of the village and entertain yourself with all the eclectic beer decor. I added this last video on here because it's from David's Been Here. He's an incredible YouTuber. Check out his page. He just finds all the little hidden gems in the world, talks about food, culture, and travel. He really does his place justice. He walks around with the owner, gets a great tour. It's a funny video. I mean, all his other YouTube videos are just fantastic. He does stuff all around the world. He's got over 1 million followers, so check this guy out. I hope you enjoyed my top favorite spots for beer culture in Belgium. I can't wait to get back here someday soon. Check out my other brewing related videos on drjoebrews.com. Cheers, beer lovers.